Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Home and Finance Show. I'm Janis Bradley, broker-owner of JB Real Estate Consultants, and joining me is my co-host,
Diana Rice-Wilkerson, lender with Fairway Independent Mortgage.
We are your seasoned, trusted advisors, committed to personally navigating you through the home buying and home lending process. This show is designed to provide you with current and relevant information about different aspects of home buying, home selling, and lending so that you're knowledgeable when making decisions for you and your family. You can also hear us on Saturdays on Radio 1, 1310 AM, 92.7 and 95.1 FM. That said, if you are in the market to buy, build, or refinance, we would love to represent you. You may reach us at the contact information below. Now on with the show. And good afternoon, good day. Let's just put it that way. Good day, Diana Rice-Wilkerson and Shelley Goodsman. We're going to have to find your middle name. So, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easy. Shelley Renee.
Shelley Renee.
Okay.
I'll really listen when you put those two
Yes,
together.
yes. And
That sounds like
I really
a
shouldn't have
mother
opened up that can of worms, mainly because of the fact you don't want to know mine. But anyway, but that's not even her middle name. It's just her name. So anyway, we're going to have an exciting day today. We've got several things we want to share with you, listening audience, and I think we're going to actually later on have a surprise for you because we've got somebody that, oh gosh, everybody's going to want to know this kind of information. But right now what we're going to do is that we are going to let Diana Rice-Wilkerson talk to us about what happens after you get the keys and you own your home. Wow. So Diana Rice-Wilkerson,
Yes.
Shelley and I just can't wait to kind of, we've got questions that we want to know. So just go start it. On your mark, get set, go.
Go. Okay, well, so first of all, thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Shelley, for this title. I'm a homeowner, now what? And that came from Shelley's daughter, who has been a homeowner for a few years now, but just in a perfect spot to say, I'm a homeowner, now what? So we thought, hey, there's a lot of things that happen after homeownership that we really have been wanting to talk about, and what better time than this? So just to kind of, and this is my audience, so they're going to be helping me with this conversation. But immediately after you close, once you get the keys, you own the home. Now this is very important because a lot of people think that because they owe on the home that they don't own the home. So that question about, especially on applications, it's like, do you own your home, yes or no? You definitely want to mark yes, okay? You do own your home. And so you definitely want to mark yes. Now, what's important is you own the home, but you've pledged the home as collateral for the loan that you took out to buy the home. Okay. So they're totally two separate things. Mm-hmm. You have the loan and you have your house. Your house is the collateral to buy the home. But guess whose name is on the deed? It is not your lender's name on the deed. And the deed is the ownership piece. So it's your name that's on the deed. Your lender's name does not even appear on the deed. Your name's on the deed, and anyone else that you've chosen to take title with you when you bought your home.
I would love to know how many homeowners are just saying, I didn't know that, or that makes me feel really good. So start yelling out the door. I do own my home. I don't care what. I own my home. That's a big deal.
And you know, Janis and I have been around a very long time, so we've heard all of these. These we either have had the questions, or we have certainly dealt with people who had the thoughts. And so we just want to make sure that you're clear about that.
Like that.
Also liken it to like when you buy a vehicle, right? So when you buy a vehicle, you have the title. We've seen a car title before. So you have the title. Your name is on the title to the car because you own the car. And there's a separate section on the title document that shows the lien holder if it's being financed by a lender. And so anyway, the title is the ownership piece of the car, just like the deed is the ownership piece of the house. And then with the title, it does show who the lender is if there's financing out there. But keep in mind, separate from the ownership, you do have a mortgage. That's why you're going to get that monthly statement each month asking for that payment.
But people don't have any problem saying this is my car.
That's right. You have no problem.
You don't have a car. You own a car.
You know for a fact you drove here today, right?
Yeah, we're going to fight if you try to take it away. So definitely we just want to make sure that you're very, very clear on that. The other thing I would like to talk about is what happens with the mail, guys.
Oh my goodness, it's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. Now, you guys know, and maybe you don't, but there are people that all their job is to check every day to see who got a new recorded mortgage. That's their job. And they have, so public record information now, it's not your social security number, it's not your date of birth, it's nothing like that. But when you actually have a mortgage, then that mortgage, or you have bought a house, then there's a document that's called, again, the deed, and there's a record. It's sort of like a credit report of sorts. It's like our personal credit report, but it's the report for the house, I want to say.
Right.
Okay, so
make
now.
Make sure that they don't know that that's public record. Yeah, we want to make sure of that.
And so anyway, so now what's going to happen is there are people who are checking to see where the new homeowners are, right? Where the new homeowners are. And so what's going to happen now is that you are going to get inundated with mail. And you guys, over the years, this mail looks so good, and it looks so pretty, and it's so tempting. But it's marketing pieces for the most part. It's not necessarily a scam. I guess it could be, but I'm just at this point going to tell you it's marketing.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's hold that, put a pin in it. Like
I'm putting a pin in it.
That's what my pastor does. What confuses people, and I'm still getting it, I've been in, 2019, but it actually has fairway on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's something that people really get confused about.
That is true.
That it has their lender.
That is true, because guess what? These guys are professionals, guys.
Okay.
And they know what makes you open the mail.
Okay.
Okay. And one of the things that makes you trust this mail, like Janis said, is if you see your lender's name on the mail. So you think it's from your lender. And many people have thought that these pieces that they're getting are coming from their lender because their lender's name is on the mail. Well, guess what? Your lender's name is on that recorded document. Right. Okay, so it's your mortgage. You've pledged the house as collateral. So the mortgage has the name of the lender on it. So that's how they know who the lender was that closed on your deal. So all of this is maybe on that piece, that marketing piece, to give you comfort that this is something you should trust.
Legit.
Right? To assure you, kind of.
Assure you.
Yes, we already know you. We're already, you know your name, your address.
And this is coming from us.
Right.
So here's something you want to consider.
Your trusted advisor.
Correct. And so what our counsel is now, we are not in a position to know what you receive. Can't say it's a scam or bogus or anything like that. We can say it's marketing. There's a product or service of some type that's being sold, and we would just caution you not to respond to the mail. And that's almost any mail. But certainly if you're a new homeowner, you're going to get blasted. And as Janis said, she's been in her home for 3 years or better, and she's still getting blasted. I know I bought in 21. I'm still getting blasted. At least we do know how to differentiate between what's a good offer versus what's not necessarily a good offer, or what's from our lender versus what's not from our lender. So what we're going to ask you to do is reach out to your realtor or your lender before you take any action with the mail. And I get a lot of those follow-up calls.
I like that you said offer, because a lot of, like you said, it's marketing.
Yeah.
So there are pieces of, is it something you need?
Yes.
Like if you get a lawn care, you're like, you know what, I may want someone to come and do my lawn right now.
Right.
But if it's something about that's very specific to you, like, do you want a copy of your deed? Yes. You know what I mean? Like it's from, you think it's from your Allstate carrier, but it's just someone using that tagline to get you to, like you said, open that mail.
Open it.
And
but
then what?
Let's stop for a minute, because this deed situation is very, very important. I'm glad you brought it up, because I think they're charging you something like $90. I don't know why that sticks in my mind. So we really want the listening audience to understand, this one thing that they do remember in a way, which I do like, and they'll call us, is because they remember the title company saying that you will receive your deed in the mail. So you get a lot of calls on that, but you do not have to pay extra for your deed, so we want to say that over and over again, because I can't imagine how many people are thinking, okay, I need to pay for my deed.
Yeah, especially I can see that too, Janis, when you've been told you'll receive your deed in the mail, and maybe before you get your deed in the mail, here comes this envelope that says you need to pay for your deed, maybe to protect your deed and some other things, and we connect those two together when they have really nothing to do with each other.
But here's a great connection to that is on your closing, not that you're not confused a little bit when you're seeing all those closing figures, but the cost of your deed is already on your settlement statement.
That is true.
You have already paid for that deed.
That is true.
So this person who's saying, hey, we can get you a copy of it for just only $90, you have already paid for that and it's coming.
Right.
And I think the other thing too is it takes your county a little bit of time to get that recorded. So it could take 30 or 60 days. And these guys, they've got that mailer going out within 24 hours.
Yes, they
they're
are.
like,
Absolutely.
we're on it. So I think that's part of it too.
Yes, absolutely. So the takeaway here really is you do not need to pay for a deed. And as far as protection goes, there's a show, I think on late night TV that's called, it's called, it's kind of like identity theft with your title, okay, with the title. Okay, you guys, okay, you know, just don't respond to all of that. Talk to your attorney, talk to your trusted advisors, seek advice if you would like to get advice. I'm not saying that those things haven't happened at some point, but sometimes what you have with these marketing people is they're selling solutions to fear. So if they can create a lot of fear around these things, and then they can tell you, hey, for $19.99 or $9.99 or whatever, that's a lot of money if you're on the receiving end of all those $9.99s. So again, we're not at all categorizing or labeling anything. What we're saying is be cautious. Don't invite people in. I even think if it's a lawn care service, as innocent as that sounds, because we live in a different day.
Yes.
Even if you're sparked by an interest in what you're getting an envelope about, you do your own research and you Google or talk to friends and family. Who do you use? How do you like their service? You know, just kind of stay where you know the information you're providing about your name, your address, and all of that is going to someone that you have reason to trust.
It's safe.
Yeah, and it's safe. Exactly. So yes, the copy of the deed. You may have closed one day, and the next day you get an offer to refinance.
That's so true.
I love it.
For a low rate.
For a low rate, exactly.
Yesterday.
Oh, we're offering 2 or 3%. You closed at 7. We've got 2 or 3. Don't go for that, guys.
We just saw on TV, CNN rates are now 9.5, and all of a sudden you're going to get a 2% rate. I love it.
And again, caution: be careful who you're giving your information out to. You do not know these people on the other end of the phone, or even if you complete something that's been mailed to you, you don't know. So a lot of identity theft sometimes comes by the way of us just being too trusting. Maybe we're responding to something that really looks legitimate, but today we have to do our homework for real.
Well, it's making it sound like they already know about us. Right. So I think that kind of...
relaxes you and kind of makes you trust a little bit.
Let's talk about this refinancing part.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned it to Shelley when we were talking about this topic. And especially on FHA, okay, because of the fact that on your mortgage insurance. So from my understanding, Ms. Linder. Okay, with FHA, mortgage insurance is now for the life of the loan. That changed, right?
Unless you're putting down 10%.
Unless you're putting down 10%.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So my point is on that is that the mail that I still get, you know, it talks about being able to drop it, using the words of dropping your MIP. Now, in my mind, to me, you're really talking about refinancing because that's the only way you're going to do it. But can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Well, that's a great example. See, this is such a great example. So if you have an FHA mortgage, and all of this is public record. So if you have an FHA mortgage, then, or even if it's your loan servicer that's collecting the payment now, they know you have an FHA mortgage. You may get a notification that says, hey, we can refinance you and get rid of your MIP, okay? And so what that says to me, kind of as a consumer, is maybe you're gonna just do something to get rid of my MIP with my FHA loan, I don't know. I call you. The whole thing is they're normally talking about refinancing you from an FHA loan into a conventional loan. And if that doesn't work, now keep in mind, you called them because you're talking about dropping your MIP. If that doesn't work, then they're going to talk to you about refinancing back into an FHA loan and the benefits. It could or could not necessarily be a benefit to you. But at the end of the day, that's what they're going to talk to you about. So even, I'm going to say this, if you liked your lender that you closed with, I'm talking about the loan officer that you closed with. If you trusted them and you felt they had your best interest at heart, that's who you want to go back to. And the realtor's the same way if you're looking at doing something with your real estate. If you trusted the people that helped you the first time, my recommendation is to go back to them, because basically through that relationship, you got a sense that they were on your side, they're going to shoot it to you straight, and they're not going to try to sell you on anything. Because other people, maybe even from the same company, you guys, this is business. This is business. Other people may be calling you and they're trying to sell you. Not to say they're trying to do anything bad to you, but they've got a goal and they've got a quota. And they're trying to get, and they've got right. And so your lender, I know, and I feel many lenders are like this. The straight shooters are out there. Even if it could benefit them to talking you into refinancing, they're not going to do that if they feel that's not your best option. So,
isn't there like a minimum time frame before you can even refinance once you buy a home? Is there something called like seasoning?
If you for cash out.
Okay.
For cash out, yes. So if you buy a home and all of a sudden say you have a lot of equity that's accumulated and you want to refinance and pull cash out, then yes, you need to, it's normally a year, it may be 2, but normally a year. Okay. FHA. The rules are going to change whether you're dealing with FHA, conventional, or VA.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so I think, have we beat that dead horse enough?
Well, I have a great question too, because as you mentioned, it was my daughter buying a home, and she's like, every day, I got this, Mom, what is this? Not that you guys don't get thousands of those calls, but the inspection was covered, right? Something happens in the home. Who do I call? Do I call the inspector?
Good question.
Well, they're for sure going to call you too. That's for sure. Do they call their homeowner's insurance? Do they call their, a repair person? Do they call the home warranty? That's something that unfortunately can happen right away when you buy a home, and that's why you absolutely need a home warranty. But what guidance would you give them for that kind of thing? Who is the right person to call?
I think if you've closed relatively soon, you need to call your realtor.
Okay.
Because your realtor is going to, I find a lot of people don't even know they have home warranties. It seems like there's so much going on at the closing table. Right. They don't, and the realtor can guide them back, and you know what I'm saying? Or maybe they called the home warranty company and the home warranty company said this is not covered. And so again, a lot of that I feel is the realtor's conversation. Janice, what do you think?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I do get calls, and I might be, even if it's something minor, it's still something that's probably covered by the home warranty. There have been a few times that actually, for some reason, the check wasn't received.
Okay.
Because this check is sent by the title company. So when they have called the home warranty, they don't have anything on it necessarily, just a check, because I do it ahead of time where they got the number. But that don't panic on that, because they will honor that. With the title company. They can do whatever they have to do. And again, if something kind of happens with that's not covered by home warranty, it's just kind of going to depend on what the situation is, so I just can't really answer to that. Some inspectors will have a time frame that they kind of warrant a situation.
Nice, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, just maybe 30 days, or something of this nature. Now, there are some inspection companies, quite frankly, that I think if you pay an additional fee, then they'll warrant something maybe for 60 and 90 days. I've not had that situation, but yeah, it's okay to call me, and that home warranty really that is what it's there for. Yeah.
Well, and that's why you do. I mean, you have seen literally thousands of closing documents, so that's something that for a fact was covered in their closing, or you took care of that topic.
Yeah, and there's, like you said, there's so many things that they're signing, trying to remember that. And of course, just the fact that you're talking about what happens, after closing, some people don't even realize that if there was a storm of some type, that is the homeowner's insurance, so, because that's new.
Yes.
Because all that's new.
Yep. So absolutely. Good question, first of all, very good question. And I think it's also good to emphasize it just kind of depends on what the situation is. What we can say is that through a home inspection, the home inspector is not guaranteeing anything, because that was inspected that day, that time. You know, and anything can happen. We've seen anything happen. It wasn't the seller's fault afterwards or the home inspector's fault. We've got a few minutes left. I want to talk about this whole thing about, you know, I bought a house, now what, when it comes to wealth building, because this is something you're hearing a lot about today, which is awesome. Wealth building. There's all kind of wealth building activities.
Okay.
But the one thing that we absolutely know, historically know, Google anybody you want to. Talk to anybody you want to. Real estate, you guys, it just is an appreciating asset. And it's very, very important. So one of the things I feel that Janis and I have done a very good job, thank you, Jesus, for explaining a lot about home ownership. One of the things that we probably want to really talk more about is the wealth building piece, because it still puzzles us why so many people didn't buy when rates were in the 3s. And now they're in the 7s. And these are some people that were in the market when rates were in the 3s. And now they're in the 7s. And it's kind of like, well, why didn't you buy when rates were in the 3s? And we do understand that a lot of those people just didn't understand the wealth building piece. So I want to spend a little bit of time on that. So number one, you flipped your wealth building machine on. You have flipped the switch. When you sign on the dotted line and you're now the homeowner, you have flipped on a wealth building switch. And we want to talk about that so you understand what that is. Number one, you're no longer paying rent, which is making someone else wealthy. We can say that, we understand that, we know that, but my rent is affordable, so I'm still not moved to go buy a house. I totally get that, and that's what we heard from a lot of people. They like where they live, their rent was affordable. I'm still not moved to buy a house, okay.
I think that's a great point that you just made, Diana, that it's easy to see it when it's someone else's wealth.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
oh, I know I just paid his house off for him or her, right? They can see it when it's someone else's, but when it's theirs, like, now they're the they.
They're the they, exactly.
They're the ones who are, like you said, like, you know, you flip the switch up and it just starts. You made a comment the other day about like how you're just like trickling, it just keeps going and going and going, like kind of like a slot machine just going up and up and up. And
building money. There's some show where it's like, okay, you're earning money while you sleep.
Yes.
Basically, you're earning money.
I like that.
I know you guys may not understand this, and that is okay. We're going to talk about this enough eventually where you are. But yeah, you're earning money while you sleep. So we're going to talk about that. And so we're going to start with this, okay? If you've got $1,000 a month rent, which rent today is more like $1,400 to $1,500, but we want to keep it simple, so
please.
that I can do the math right.
I know that's right.
So if your rent is $1,000 a month, at the end of a calendar year, you have spent $12,000. We know that. That is real $12,000 worth of money you have spent, okay? After 2 years, $24,000. After 3 years, $36,000. So if you're in this boat where you've been renting over this past 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, this is the kind of money you have spent, and you've been making someone else wealthy. And the thing about it is there's nothing wrong with renting, but we believe renting should have a limited time in your life. So it's kind of like you're going to rent for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever your plan is, but along the same line, you're going to be also planning to buy. So number one, you're spending this money. It is real money. It is going to the homeowner of the property. But we want you to know that when you're buying a home, you're actually building wealth in two ways, because we've said you flip that switch on. So you're building in two ways. Number one, let's say you financed a $200,000 home. Each month you make a monthly payment. I think you know that each payment, there's a part of it that's paying down the $200,000. Let's say you borrowed $200,000. There's a part of it that's reducing that balance. Okay, so what happens is the difference between what you owe and what the house is worth is your equity. So you're going to get natural equity. It's going to automatically be there
because
just by you paying down the house.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. The other way that you flip that wealth building machine on is that there's natural appreciation with real estate. Now, even when I got in the business, which was 1,000 years ago, the appreciation rate was 3%. We're talking Indiana, Midwest too, because when you're out on the coast, that's a whole different ballgame. But Midwest, we're kind of like more solid, more stable, 3%. 3% of $200,000 is $6,000. So after year one, the $200,000 house that you bought is now worth $206,000. Okay, that's kind of the concept. But keep in mind, these days, guys, we have seen that number double and triple. The appreciation rate is off the chain. So again, I'm the lender. I'm going to be conservative because you're not going to get me and tell me your house didn't appreciate 3%. So anyway, 3%, $600. What is $600 per month? Over a year is $500 per month. So every time you make this payment, not only is the balance going down, which is creating wealth, but also the value of your house is going up, which is creating wealth. And that's why you have just flipped the switch on to a wealth building machine. This same math works for that house or that condo you're renting. For that seller, that person that owner, same math works for them. We're saying this is where you want it to work for you. And what Janis and I have seen over the last couple of years are people that have bought their homes. Let's say 2 years ago, they bought a home, it was $200,000. Maybe they need to sell now and then maybe buy something larger. They're selling for $250,000, $260,000, $280,000. And so that extra money like that is coming from appreciation. That is not coming from the fact that they've paid the house down that much. It's coming from the fact that the house has naturally appreciated. We want you to be a part of that, and that starts your wealth.
So that's two great ways. Can you touch on real quickly about, is your value of your home what the assessed value is?
Okay.
That's another one of those things you get in the mail.
Yes, good question. So today, many lenders will actually send you a monthly email that tells you kind of like what your home is valued at. But let's talk to you about what is not accurate. That you might see saying that your home is valued at a certain amount. Number one, you're getting your tax bills now. So your tax bills are based off of assessed value. That's a completely different formula. That is not market value. When we're talking about value, we're talking about what someone else is willing to pay you for your house.
Good point.
The assessed value is actually used to determine your property taxes, and that's what it's used for. Then you have value that your insurance company uses, and they're typically saying this is how much it's going to cost to rebuild your house new.
Good point.
Okay, so
Very
once again, that's not the answer either. Okay, so the answer is market value. We don't have a lot of time to go into anything else very deeply, but we hope that this segment has really helped you understand some of the things that happens to you. I bought a house. Now what?
Now what? Very good, very good.
I love that.
All righty, thank you. And I know that is a wealth of knowledge that everybody has just received in this short period of time. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.